Hi, my name is Brett Zalaski, and I'm the Chief Getting After It Officer of Get After It Sales. Today, I'm going to talk about an exercise that I believe most organizations should be teaching their younger sales reps. The training focuses on making sure that you take away product as the biggest crutch for young salespeople. What do I mean by that? So ultimately, a lot of times, young sales reps become so dependent on what they know, which is literally the ticket product that you place in their hands, that they create something that we call the kitchen sink phenomenon, literally shoving product down the throats of the people that they're talking to on the phones. Sure, every once in a while, this will catch that lowest common denominator of fan that was ready to buy in that instance anyway, but it is not going to hit that mid-level to harder level of sale that they're going to need to make to become salespeople within your organizations. They don't need personality to put product out there. But you know as well as I know that the reps that have found their strong voice are oftentimes the ones that become the sales leaders in your organization. It doesn't have to be a loud voice. It doesn't have to be a soft voice. It doesn't have to be a middle voice. It doesn't have to be a sales voice. It just has to be their voice. Because ultimately in this day and age where people have access to information, they're buying people. And people need to commit to being themselves and need to commit to being themselves strongly to be the top level of salesperson that they can be. What we want is for our reps to take ownership of this idea of being the expert, and then they can do that by being themselves. This will give them more confidence, and it will allow them to become sales leaders faster within your organization. On the board, you see I have big, hairy, audacious goals, which is something you may have seen in business school or you may have seen somewhere else. It is big, hairy, audacious goals, otherwise known as BHAG. Well, we changed that up. We noticed that our reps were basically just shoving product. What we ultimately changed that to was BHAS. Pardon the handwriting. Big, hairy, audacious statements. We wanted our reps to commit to being themselves and commit to earning the trust of the people that they were on the phone with. And to get away from this whole concept of kitchen sink and just shoving product down the people they're doing for. What does that mean? It means, one, you need to crush your opening. You need to let people know who you are, why you're there, and make them understand that they really are working with someone who's not just an expert, but is committed to having a real conversation with them. Two, we need to make sure that we act like ourselves and are very naturally curious about the other person on the other end of the phone to make sure that we can get enough information to give them one or two solid recommendations about what they should buy. Remember, Jeffrey Gitomer, who has said, people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. People want to be given the information from a trusted source and feel like they're coming to that decision themselves. When you commit to taking away language like maybe, perhaps, kinda, yeah, I think that might be the right thing for you, and you're able to say with conviction, yes, we've had this conversation, I know that your sons who are just becoming baseball players or soccer players or football players will have an incredible experience and learn a lot from this opportunity through season tickets, a family plan, a mini plan, or whatever that right product fit for that family, that business, or that affinity group might be. There are two things to really remember and to teach when it comes with BHAS, and there will be a PowerPoint presentation that comes along with this. One, you need to be naturally curious enough to make a strong recommendation about what you're talking about. And the second most important point is that you need to be confident in your role as an expert, confident enough to be yourself, have a good time, have fun, put your genuine personality out there, and put statements out there that you're committing to. Not, I think, perhaps, maybe, kinda, but putting out statements that are, I know, and I'm confident. And I really think that this is what you should be getting. Along with the PowerPoint presentation that would show how I would talk about BHAS and how I would teach BHAS to young sales reps will be 2 reinforcement exercises that you'll be able to do with your staff. One is a short-term reinforcement exercise. The second is a long-term reinforcement exercise. The short-term reinforcement exercise is what we call the movie quotes game. Everybody has a favorite movie, and that movie has been critiqued by hundreds to thousands of movie critics across the country. What movie critics are known for is using very strong language and very committal language that get people to either see, not see, or feel very down the road about whatever movie that they are critiquing. What we're going to ask is that each one of your reps chooses their favorite movie, goes to Rotten Tomatoes, pulls 10 quotes, expressions that are used, and Rotten Tomatoes does a good job of clipping these things, and then choose and focus on either a product that you have, your season ticket product, or, and this might be a little bit better, is an upcoming match or game that you have coming up, and how they can take those strong phrases and craft a statement that is going to sell someone on that ticket plan or that game. The long-term reinforcement exercise that I'm going to send across, and I don't usually like negative reinforcement, but I think this is a lot of times talking about not just how to be yourself, but how to remove things that don't allow you to be yourself. So, at the Columbus Crew, what we did was we spent 2 weeks, and we spent about an hour each week focusing on listening to each one of our reps. We called it a power hour, and we sat in there each week. My outside sales manager and I had Post-it notes. Whenever we heard a kinda, sorta, maybe, we wrote that on the Post-it note and stuck that in the rep who said it's cute. Or, if we heard them shoving product at an inappropriate time, we wrote that down and put that in their cube as well. A lot of times we put kitchen sink on it. At the end of the 2 weeks, the rep that had the combined most revenue, we do want to reward success, and the least amount of Post-it notes was the rep that won that sales contest. I will be passing along with this video, those exercises written out so you can utilize them within your own organization. In the future, a lot of these videos, as well as being actually professionally produced, will be a little bit more specific about different aspects of the sales process that people can deliver on. But I always feel that a rep being themselves is the most important thing, and that gets me to my final thought. You hired your reps because you saw something in those people that you wanted to represent your product or you thought could ultimately be successful in sales. A lot of teams, though, believe in this kind of idea of the Darwinian process of sales, that here's your 3 days of training, there's the phone, here are your leads, the strong will survive. I have seen the greatest reps that I've ever worked with become successful after 1 month, and I've seen the greatest reps that I've ever worked with become successful after 6 or 7 months. There is a process to allowing them to find their voice, and a lot of times we don't spend enough time with them teaching them how to find that specific voice. We work a lot on process and we work a lot on technique, but a lot of times we don't work enough with our reps individually and in a group to really incentivize them to find their voice. And I believe that through BHAS and some other training, the faster they find those voice, the quicker they're going to become revenue leaders within your organization, or if you produce enough of them, in other organizations as well. Thank you for your time. I look forward to doing this again in the future.